did an amazing job on vault. 2 very high-scoring vaults to have an average of over 15, 15.5, and he'll be there as well. In the team competitions, I think Germany, buoyed by the results of their women's team yesterday, have put in a stunning performance. They're scoring 260.5 to head the team results at the moment. Closely followed, I must say, by Brazil, who are obviously getting things ready for Rio in 2016. They've put in a great performance, just a few tenths behind in second place.
That's right. We will be able to see Yang in the individual apparatus finals in 2 days' time. Fans out there, stay tuned in a couple of days' time to see his spectacular vaulting. Now we're going to concentrate on these men's team events, and don't forget these count for the qualification for the individual finals as well. So lots of things to keep an eye on, but obviously the individual events all around, who will be qualifying for that. Challenge David Deliavsky on the floor. We have Abliazin, Olympic medalist on the rings. European champion Igor Radivilov going up against Arthur Zanetsi, the Olympic champion on the high bar. Very strong field as well. The popular German Fabian Hambushen, Kato, Antonacco and Garibov. Parallel bars, we've got Oleg Stepko, Gonzalez, Phuc Hong, the Vietnamese gymnast, Beliavsky as well. But it's really that vault, isn't it, Paul? We have the 3 Olympic medalists, Yang Haxiong, we've already seen him, and Radivilov and Abliazin going in this session.
Yes, Yang's already been, and he's really thrown down the gauntlet for Abliazin and Radivilov. They've got to produce something very, very special to get in front of him. It's going to be a very exciting competition.
And there is one other Olympic medalist, Filip Uda, who won't be here for Croatia, but a silver medalist in 08. So another big, big name, and it's a little bit notch above the level of women.
You're watching Nikita Ignatiev on floor, just about to start the competition.
The ball rolling for the Russians.
Great opener, handspring double front somersault. Forward tumble, double twist forwards and then into a full twist. He's got 70 seconds to pack in as much difficulty as he can, and the judges will evaluate the 10 most difficult elements. Beautiful extension on those flares, up to handstand, back down again. Bringing the pommel horse to the floor. Great flexibility there. Double twist backwards. Working his way into the corner, ready for the dismount. These gymnasts have to use the entire floor area and keep within the 12-meter square. That's a very safe routine, lovely dismount, 2.5 twists in that backward somersault.
Nikolai Ignatiev had a battle to get into this team because it's a strong Russian team, and he'll be looking to repay the faith of the selectors. So the Russians are starting on the floor, Canada on the pommel horse, Japan on the vault, Ukraine on the still rings, China on the parallel bars, and Romania on the horizontal bar. That's going to be the first rotation for you. Try and pack in as much as possible, and there's the start for Russia. Is there a favoured apparatus to start on? We were talking about the women perhaps not liking the beam too much to start. Is there an equivalent for the men?
Well, I think the standard order of rotation is floor, then pommels, rings. So anybody that starts on floor is normally how they would go around in a competition. Pommel horse tends to be most people's nemesis. It's a difficult piece to start on, just in the same way as the girls' beam was yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see how the guys get on that.
Individual to see who will be the best all-around gymnast here. That 88, 89 points will be a good score to get to that final. I never know if it could be a huge surprise. That'll be the target to the all-rounders who are diminishing breed with ankle. It's harder and harder to be a top all-rounder these days.
It does become more and more difficult to actually keep going on 6 pieces of apparatus. Immense difficulty, training more than 30 hours per week, and to maintain the high level now with so many specialists around is a big job. We're watching the Romanians in their category on high bar now. You can't discount the Romanians from the team competition. 4 Olympians there from London 2012. So they could be in with a chance as well.
4 of these gymnasts were in the team that won the Universiade bronze in 2011. The other one is Flavius Coxey, the legendary 10-time European medalist. 2 goals in Shenzhen for him, so certainly don't discount the Romanians. looking back 2 years ago, it was a gold medal for Mykola Kuksenkov. That was when he was competing for Ukraine. Now he's, of course, very much a Russian. This is his first international competition since switching sides, so don't often see that. Defending the title here, but with a different country. We also have Chen Shuzhang, who goes on to bar gold medalist. And Arta Zanetti, actually, before winning that gold medal in London, was the Universiade champion as well. So plenty of names coming back. There's 4 Romanians. Also Hiroki Ishikawa. Burbakar, who was an individual medalist as well as winning the bronze. So a lot of these gymnasts clearly enjoying the Universiade and liking the idea of coming back 2 years later.
Netiev scoring 15.1 on floor. That's a great start for Russia. Great tradition on parallel bars for the Chinese gymnasts. Often pack a lot of difficulty in. There you saw straddle forward somersault to upper arms. To show great control in the handstand. Yes, bit of an unknown quantity, China. It'll be very interesting to see how they get on today. A lot of new names.
Just going back a few seconds there, we're going to try and pack in as much action as possible, so not all live, no, it's just a few seconds delayed. We are now back live.
Beautiful vault from Yohei Kato. Sugara with 2.5 twists. Difficulty rating of 5.6. Very good form in the air.
Japan winning that competition 2 years ago ahead of China. It's a real coup for them. Yodai, Hojo, Ryuzu, Sejima, Masahoshi Yamamoto and Soshi Yamamoto. These other gymnasts. It's only Ishikawa who's back. Doing some massive cheers behind us. That's because there's a floor routine going on with Bilyavsky. The Russian national all-around champion, European individual all-around champion this year. 89.79 points. We'll show you his routine in a few seconds if we just get confirmation of that mark from Yohei Kato, Paul.
Yes, 14.9. That's a good start. Some of these gymnasts electing to do 2 vaults if they want to make the finals. Kato just doing 1.
Joshua Stew. We haven't spoken much about the Canadians, and it's very much a David against Goliath here. The Canadian men, they had a 52-hour journey from Toronto. They got stuck in JFK Airport 14 hours, slept overnight. Until the last minute, they weren't quite sure of making it. They had all sorts of visa problems, but they are here. And let's be honest, they're against gymnasts of superior quality, but what a fantastic experience for some of these gymnasts. They're at the start of their career. Something like Tarek Dowes has only just started university, so it's a fantastic experience. No one has too many expectations.
It really is, and Joshua shaking off his jet lag to do a very nice pommel routine there. Safely through.
Speaking to the Canadian coaches a couple of days ago, and they were saying it's great to be on the same field of players, some of the great stars of gymnastics. A lot of these Canadians just don't have the resources and the time. The other 5 nations here, but representing their country. Let's see how high they can get up in those standings. Denis Ablyazin, ready to go on the floor. The only Russian to win 2 medals, Russian man to win 2 medals at the London Olympics. Silver vaults, and he got a bronze on the floor. Also the European vault champion, so a real rounder as well.
Routine. Hold on to your hats. He packs in so much difficulty.
Denis Ablyazin taking his time. The crowd have been waiting for this.
Unusual start, not using the corners. One with 2.5 twists forwards. In difficulty. Wow. Double straight somersault with double twist. Very rarely seen, well executed. That's an amazing combination. Double twist forward into an immediate punch, double front somersault. This is incredible difficulty. The male gymnasts have to show a little bit of strength and circle work within their routine. The Japanese handstand. To stay on the floor there. Working against the clock now. Yes, 70 seconds, just 5 seconds left. Finishing with a triple twist. That was an immense routine.
Wonderful work from Denis Abiazin under enormous pressure. He was getting questioned from the Russian journalist about how many medals he was going to win this week, which is always tough. And his reply, I don't think about medals, otherwise you'll mess up your program. And he's just going to try and forget about that medal count for the moment. But is that a medal performance?
Oh, I'd say so. He has to repeat it, of course, in a couple of days' time. But that was just wonderful work. You see a double Arabian in the pike position and then really fighting hard to stay within the boundaries of the floor.
Just about did it. The 21-year-old Denis Abiazin had a wonderful Olympics. Struggled a bit the last couple of Olympics, the Russian men. These young fans enjoying this. Great chance here in Kazan. We're about 800 kilometers east of Moscow. It's a city that loves its gymnastics and its sport, being billed as one of, if not the, capital of Russian sports. And we've all been very impressed with the facilities here in Kazan. It's certainly the biggest sports event the city has ever seen. What kind of results, score will Abiazin get here? He's confident.
Certainly happy.
Seconds. Taking their time, the judges here. Get this right.
Quite a difficult routine to evaluate that. So many twists and turns. A lot to work out. It'll take a little bit longer than your normal routine. There it is.
15,650.
Amazing score.
Ranked #1. Early days, of course, in this competition, but that's set the bar pretty high, Paul.
An absolutely incredible start score, 7.1. I think that's the highest start score I've ever seen on the floor. Great first round for Russia. Topping the table after one apparatus, 46.05, over a 15 average on floor. They'll be very happy with that as they move to pommel horse.
So a great start for the Russian Federation. 6 nations going here: Ukraine, Romania, Japan, China, and Canada. The real underdogs are the Canadians. Probably just watching in awe a little bit of some of these performances on the floor. On the second rotation, it will be Romania on the floor. The Russians will go to the pommel horse. Ukraine on the vault. The rings will be Canada, parallel bar, Japan, horizontal bar, China. Chance to see too much of China so far. But this is a quick replay, Paul, of the last parallel bars routine from the Chinese.
Beautiful work, as expected of the Chinese. Great line, great form, and a great tradition on this piece of apparatus. They are showing compulsory elements to upper arms, somersaults to catch.
Susan Chen, the surviving member of that Shenzhen 2011 silver medalist team. Gold in the horizontal bar 2 years ago, so successful Universiade gymnast.
Working very well on all the apparatus at the moment. Flying from one end to the other, working underneath the bar, above the bar. There you see the Healy somersault. Now double pike dismount, safety free.
Slightest of step backs. Decent routine there.
I can tell you that Radivilov, the European rings champion, scored 15.3 on that piece of apparatus. Currently second, should see him through.
So the Chinese off the horizontal bars. 46.05 highest so far after one apparatus. Last subdivision, Paul, we saw individual flashes of brilliance from the likes of Zanetti and Yang, but as a team, can anyone challenge for a medal of the nations that we've seen earlier?
Well, Germany have thrown down the gauntlet. 260 is a very impressive scoreline for a team total, and it's up to these guys to try and beat that. Brazil just a few tenths behind have impressed me so much. So it really is up to these guys to be safe, to go through all of those 18 routines without major error, to be able to go above that 260 points. Certainly possible for 3 or 4 of these teams now, but well done to Germany.
The judges too under immense scrutiny, of course. This is a top-level competition. How much of the way you think this ranks, Paul, in terms of the quality, in terms of the European Championship? Is it that level, even higher?
Well, I can say that the participants here are absolutely of amazing quality. There's plenty of Olympians here, plenty of high-level gymnasts. So it's a really class field on this men's program. Traditionally, the Universiade has spawned some great names historically. It's not quite on a par with an Olympic Games or a World Championships, but it is a multi-sport event, and it gives lots of students a tremendous opportunity to mix with some of the greats and set off their careers in this sport.
Yeah, some of the great male gymnasts have gone through the Universiade. We're talking about Coxey on 2011 floor and vault, 10-time European medalist. Interesting that Zanetti went on to win gold after competing in those Universiade. Going back, that's Kim Joo-hoon, Emin Galibov, a couple of Universiade ago. Christian Berkey, legend of Pommel Horse, a man you know very well. Of course, Paul, you've had some of your gymnasts compete against him over the years, and it's been a really interesting gymnastic competition. Going back even further, Vitaly Sherbo, the legendary Belarusian former competitor here. Talking about the men's now, there's really catchy Italian, so these big names. Not so big names on the Canadian side, but who knows, a few years down the line, maybe we'll be saying that we remember seeing some of these gymnasts at the Universiade in 2013.
Yes, Canada with a big tradition in Universiades. Not so strong this year, but 6 Universiade medals previously on the men's side. Nathan Gaffuit pulled 2 in Shenzhen on vault and all around. And then the likes of Brandon O'Neill, and going back still further, Brad Peters in 1983. They have a good tradition of the Universiade.
Japan are the 4-time defending champions here in men's competition. The last 4. Before that was South Korea, China, Japan again. It was dominated by the former Soviet Union, who won 4 in a row, but their last was in Sheffield at the 1991 Universiade when they beat Japan. Since then, neither the Soviet Union or Russia have been top of the podium. I wonder if they'll put that right in an hour and a half so. We got off to a great start. Second rotation. Gadivov. Pommel Horse. I think you can see that throughout the air to see the high bar. Which team these supporters cheering on. Not often that such high-quality gymnasts would come to Kazan, so gymnastics fans.
Oh, tremendous opportunity to see the Russians performing so well. Very good for the home crowd.
Anyway, so Galibov is going on the Pommel Horse. Cruz on the still rings. The thoughts. Underway. To show you some more pictures. Here we go again now. So yes, we're going to look at China high bar with Zhang. This routine important.
Very nice tackle with half turn to a handstand for a D element. Very popular amongst the male gymnasts. The first release, straight Kachev. Another Kachev straddle with a half turn. Quick shuffle along the bars. This time the Adler with a full twist, combining it with a Markelov. Swimming well so far. This third Kachev of the routine. Plenty of airtime for these gymnasts. Stored with a full turn, slightly early out there. Needs to go nearer to handstand. The judges will notice that. Endo with Healy turn. For the discount. Good routine from Zhang, double stroke with full twist.
Yep, he'll be delighted with that. And one of his compatriots, Sujun Chen, defending champion in the horizontal bar competition in Shenzhen. 2 years Chinese really dominate that. 11 golds, 3 silvers, 3 bronze. Russia getting 6 golds and 11 silvers. That's across all gymnastics. Japan the third, Romania fourth. Back on the high bar. Excellent there. Let's see how the judges will reward him.
Garibov started very well on pommel horse, 15.1 score.
Back to the floor, and back to Romania. Waiting for a second because the Russians are finishing off their routine on the pommel horse, more specifically Kuksenkov. Chance then for the Romanians to show what they can do on the floor.
Yes, we're looking at Christian Bataga. Good start, 2.5 twist in that back somersault, immediately connected with handspring 1.5 twist. Very good team performers. They prepare excellently for team competitions. Perhaps not the most difficult, stylish of gymnasts at all times, but very, very well prepared for major competitions. Fedorchenko element, showing his splits, and for a quick breath before that lift to handstand. Twisting 1 3/4 rollout. Now preparing for the final tumble. Just step out of the floor area at the end. There'll be a small deduction for that. But he's through his routine.
Disappointments for Bataga, the Romanian. One of the Olympic team. 4 of them here. They finished 10th in the team competition in London. How much creativity he's put into that. Always a risk, of course, to push out the envelope. I think he took many risks in that routine, Paul.
Oh, I think all of these gymnasts do. There's a big dilemma between playing safe for the team and putting in all your stuff to try to make the apparatus finals. But that routine was good enough for a team performance.
The team that know each other very well. Bataga, Berbekar, Budasok, Kotonik in the team that won Universiade bronze in 2011, coached by Jan Suciu. He's an ex-Universiade medalist himself, so very little that this Romanian team doesn't know about the Universiade. Bataga will get on here. Lots going on, of course. Some of these gymnasts performing. Currently on the high bar. Parallel bars. Just waiting for the score there of Bataga.
Wonderful work from the Japanese on high bars, swinging. Long swing with full twist.
Shogun Onomura.
Great potential, this guy. A good all-round gymnast. He could challenge for the final tomorrow.
Control. Step back.
Yeah, they're safely through a very complex routine.
Japanese coach Hisashi Satori saying they're far better condition now than when they arrived. They arrived earlier in the week. I certainly see Russia and China as their big rivals. But again, saying they're not worrying too much about the others are doing, and I guess that's standard pre-competition talk. Slow-mo there. And the Japanese routine. It's going on, of course, on the vault. Radivlov, excuse me.
Yes, a monster vault from Radivlov there. I hope you get a chance to see it again. Handspring double front somersault with half turn. Dragulescu vault. So high.
Nervy for Pataga, but he's got 14.25, 19th. Here is Beliavsky, big stars of this team. International all-round champion.
Actually, the handstand, be very calm before that. There's the second one with a step off the handle. So we'll lose a few tenths for that. Has to recover well. And then full turnaround, one handle, followed by a full spin, picking in the difficulty. Travel. Ready for the dismount. Oops. Just a small error on the dismount. I'm not sure he meant to land on that side of the horse, but safely through, and a good performance from the Russian team. He followed Kuksenkov, who scored 15.35 on this piece.
Beliavsky looking mightily pleased with that. Coach the legendary Valentin Rodionenko. He'll make of that too. A quick look without any mistakes there, Paul.
Such a difficult element on that one. So easy to fall off. Keeping the centre of mass over that tiny support.
Nervy weight for him.
Radavilov scoring 15.25 for his first vault. For the score for the second one.
To Liu, the Chinese on the high bar, 14.25, and Nonomura 14.55. The glimpses of so much going on, of course, with the six. Try and bring you as much as we possibly can. Haven't seen too much of Ukraine team so far. Oleg Verniayev in 19th, 11th in the all-round in the Olympics, 4th in the team, and bronze in the all-round. The Europeans, great talent for the future is Verniayev. Hopefully we'll see something of him. Maybe this gentleman will see that through his binoculars. He's looking out for day 2 of the gymnastics competition. A Russia win in the women, favourites in the men too. Beliavsky 14.9. Will he be happy with that?
Oh, I think so. Given a few small errors there on the shift handstand and the dismount, that's going to be good. And a score above 45 for a team total on pommel horse for Russia is commendable. Radavilov. Second vault safely through, 15.3. Currently second. I think that'll be enough to see him in the apparatus final. We get a chance to watch it now. Beautiful vault. Double super high in the pike position. Top draw difficulty, a 6 start score. Going to be a very exciting competition for vault in a few days' time.
We have the 3 Olympic medalists. And we're talking about Yang, 15.525 going into that final. Haxiong Yang went a little bit earlier, and very impressive, 15.65 on that first vault. And I think he's one of those gymnasts who already gets massive respect from everyone at the age of 20. It's a vaulting legend already. It's pretty fair enough to say after that brilliant performance in London from Yang.
Oh, absolutely. The Koreans really know how to twist, and Yang can pack in up to 3.5 twists in his vault. It's quite unique. But Vyazin is extremely powerful, and Radavilov is extremely powerful. It's going to be a real tussle in a few days' time. We're pushing the limits of possibilities with this new vaulting table. It's been in place now for 10 years. I remember the days of the vaulting horse where it was quite difficult to get any propulsion, but this table has really raised the level of men's gymnastics.
Oh, now all in the fall from Zhang.
Yes. 30 seconds to remount, has to be quick.
There's points for that.
There's the mark off, plus the execution.
Zhang. So steady himself about that mistake. Too much international circuit so far. 2 years old.
straight Kachev. Still the Ribelko, turning close to the bar. That's the fast. That's the motion. The smallest of steps.
Goes through. Shame for Zane. So one error. Costume dear. Chinese look to. They'll be looking for a medal, I'm sure. This competition. Need a good performance. Competition. Favourites though, Japan there, and who knows Germany. 260 points, setting. A couple of rotations now. Second. Enjoyed that performance earlier from Yang. Radvilov will fancy his chances on the ball, but it's already a wonderful story, Axiong Yang, because he comes from a very underprivileged part of career, and it really became his life from a young age, vaulting. And he's actually fulfilling positioning as an ambassador here, because he's from Gwangju, where the next Universiade will take place. So this is a special competition for him, and he'll only be getting more and more press and publicity over the next couple of years. He's a massive star in South Korea, but at that young age, he's certainly. How many more Olympics do you think he has in his 20s? Certainly one.
Oh, maybe more.
Yeah.
I think of Jordan Yovchev, who's quite unique, but he competed in London, I think, around 39 years old. So as long as he can keep his motivation and his fitness, he could keep going. He's a wonderful vaulter, wonderful prospect.
We do have one final gymnast going on the high bar, which is Chen. I'll bring the pictures in for the moment, but it's going to round off the second rotation.
Things already hotting up. Russia and Japan fighting out just after two apparatus. Less than a mark separating them. Both teams scoring above 90. That's a 15 average on the two pieces of apparatus. So they're going great guns.
Yeah, 91.4 for the Russian Federation, 90.35 for Japan, and Ukraine 89.85. There's Chen Zuyang. Now we're going to have a chance to see it. Slightly delayed, but this is just a few seconds ago. This rounded off the Chinese on the high bar pool.
There's a combination. Adler with full twist into Markelov. You also have to show elements close to the bar, release and catch elements, swinging elements with turns. You can see the Kovac now performed in different positions and with twists. Working well so far. Lots of heavy turns, getting as close to handstand as he can to avoid those deductions. Slightly off his handstand there. Going for the dismount. Big step backwards.
And there you have it, China pushing off their high bar nesting stand. They are in fourth place, 89.3. People's Republic. There you have it, confirmation 91.4 for the Russian Federation and 90.350 Ukraine, 89.5. And Brazil at this stage is quite hard to compare, but 88.050. A quick word on the British performance in gymnasts, you know very well. Overall, how do you think they'll look back on their performance this afternoon?
They worked well. They had a few errors, but generally it was a good performance. Solid performance from Matthew Firth, who scored around 85. He always seems to score around 85. He's a very consistent performer, and he'll be hoping now to get into that top 24. Ashley Watson, a European finalist from April in Moscow, performed very well. He got through his high bar routine, his parallel bar routine. Unfortunately, not quite enough to make those finals, but a good showing for him too. Mitchell Jarvis working very, very well across the pieces, and Sam Fern. Some nice work from him too.
Second day of gymnastics competition. His 27th Universiade. Gymnastics was added to the program all the way back in 1961 in Sofia. We've seen so many wonderful gymnasts through the years, some after they've become famous, some quite before. So it's always interesting to see at what stage of their career they decide to go into the Universiade competition. Kazan Gymnastics Center, which is one of the new venues here in Kazan. It's already hosted the Rhythmic Gymnastics Russian Cup and the Russian Rhythmic Gymnastics Championships as well. So, two big events here.
Just looking at the scores from the last round, Tanaka of Japan, a finalist on bars from London 2012 on parallel bars, has done a good job again today. 15.45, ranked second. That would have helped the team total immensely.
Pressure on the Russian athletes. They'll be expected to win the Universiade as they have in the past, or they didn't win the last one. 10,442 athletes in total, and the Russians have a team of more than 1,000 across all the sports, with 10 Olympic champions. You saw one stuffing yesterday, synchronized swimming, rhythmic gymnastics, judo as well. Really strong team. 100 universities across the Russian Federation represented here. I'll be disappointed if it's anything other than the Russian Federation at the top of the medals table on the 17th of July. 13 times Russia and the USSR have won the Summer Universiade. Will that be 14, I wonder? Getting ready for the third rotation now. China on the floor. Word on all around at this stage. It was
45. Yes, Fabian did a great job earlier in the day, scoring 88.3 all around. That was great work all around for Fabian. Should put him right up there in contention for an all-around medal.
Just to remind you that it's the top two from each nation. We'll go through to the respective finals. It was always hard on the third place in that nation if they've done well. We saw that with some of the Russian gymnasts yesterday, but they're the rules, just to kind of spread the medals out. Intense concentration on the fans. I'm sure they're enjoying it as well, Paul, but it's a very educated crowd as well in Russia, isn't it? They know their gymnastics.
Oh yes, they love their gymnastics. It's very high profile in this country, and a lot of these guys will be gymnasts themselves in the audience. They'll be inspired by these performances, and they'll be following very closely.
Inspired the Russians on the rings. Berdiansky bring you his results as soon as we can. So for the moment, we're going to focus on parallel bars. Romanian preparation for the bars, but what exactly are they doing before that?
Yes, the parallel bars, they can spend 50 seconds preparing the apparatus, 30 seconds on other pieces. They have a little bit more time to prepare the chalk and the necessary syrup or things to make their hands stick when they're swinging around. So here we see Maxim Semyankov of the Ukraine. Starting well. One somersault from upper arms. That's that under somersault handstand. Slight ends in his arms. The judges will pick that up.
20 years old.
To the tip belt. Working well. A few little movements of the hands to try and avoid those as much as possible. Good form so far.
13.73 is the highest in the competition so far.
Little step there just to recover the handstand. But he's through with an excellent landing, nicely stuck.
So Ukraine, under the defending individual all-around champion, Kuksenkov, who is now competing for Russia. Going to show that they have some other gymnasts who can replace Kuksenkov. Quite recently moved over to Russia. This is his first competition for Russia, Kuksenkov. Back to the floor.
Lu Wentian for China. Opening with a rollout, 1.5, twisting 1 3/4 backward somersault. Thomas roll. Gaining connection for linking bounding somersaults together. 1.5 twist, 3 to a full twist forwards. Making sure he uses all parts of the floor area. And working fast, packing as many tumbles as possible within the 70-second time limit. Here showing another compulsory category with a requirement showing handstands or circles, or jumps and turns. Ready for the dismount. Well, he tried a triple twist, but disaster. Just wrapped in a little bit too much, put the feet underneath, rolled backwards for at least a marked deduction.
Mistake right at the end there for Wen Tianlu. Will cost him and the Chinese team. Just there, little slip. See the disappointment on Wen Tianlu's face. And apart from that, a routine that didn't have too many falls, but there you see it. On that left ankle. Need the point to put it in place.
It's very difficult to finish a dismount with a triple twist.
A few seconds to see it.
Looking well so far, just managed to recover on his pommel horse routine, so hoping for an all-round place. Starting with in circle to cross. Horizontal level with the rings. Then a lucky unison combination immediately into a second rise to always showing clearance of the rings, steadiness, avoiding any swing of the rings, and movements in the back. Ready for the dismount. It is double straight with double twist. That's immensely difficult at the end of the leg sprint. Good job.
Yeah, just right. He's the European individual all-around champion. 89.759 in that competition. I wonder how close he'll get to that here at the Universiade. Bronze in the parallel bars final. So he's a real all-round athlete.
Oh yes.
Gymnastics.
A big score, 89.7. Fabian earlier today, 88.3. But it's all about going through 6 pieces without a major error.
I'd certainly love that. Almost full. It's 3,000 capacity arena. That's the majority behind a team from the Russian Federation. And that's to 14.8.
That's okay, he's on track. 3 more apparatus halfway through the competition. Keep it all together.
What's going on in this vault competition? Radevilov, 15.3, so behind the 15.25. Superb score for Yang. At the moment, Finnish gymnast Tuhar in the top 3. I don't think that will last too much longer. We're back on the pommel horse.
Yes, Vlad Kotuna, Romanians with a great tradition on this apparatus. That is Kotsu, an excellent exponent. And Kotuna working as well, very well. Reverse Wu Guanyan. Moving and turning across the horse, working on one handle, using all parts of the apparatus. Legs locked together, that's great form.
So far he's at Kuchenko's 15.35.
A little bit too much strength used on that dismount, but a very nice routine from Vlad Kotuna of Romania.
Meanwhile, the Russians continuing on the still rings. That's why you can no doubt hear the cheers around us. I'm not really putting a foot wrong from the Russian Federation.
Yes, it's very interesting to see Kuchenko working today. Last year, in 2012, he was representing another country. So often the nearly man. 4th place for the team for Ukraine in London, 4th place. for Kutsenkov in the all-around. So he'll be hoping to get into the medals today. Looking at Chen Zhang on floor.
Mistake earlier. His compatriot to put in a faultless performance here.
Greatest of difficulty this routine. Playing safe. 1.5 twist. Small execution deductions as he moves towards his final tumble. Two and a half twists in that backward somersault.
Slight step at the end of that routine as well from Chen, who's success in the World Cup series, notably in Osijek a couple of years ago. At a high level. And the judges will look at that. There you have it.
Quite a few gymnasts on the international stage falling into two categories: those that can manage an academic career and work as a student as well as being a high-level gymnast, but there are also a great number that are increasingly choosing to be only doing gymnastics. The demands of the sport nowadays, 6-7 hours of training every day, makes it very difficult to work or to study. So there's often quite a mixture of performances from these competitions.
Saying Chen has done it because it was his second consecutive university. He was there 2 years ago getting team medals and team silver, horizontal bar gold. So stringing together two Universiade at a high level. Well, that takes some doing for the reasons you just explained to us. So well done to Chen. We're going to get on to Yusuke Tanaka, I think, yep, on the high bar. I haven't seen too much of the Japanese team so far.
This is a great gymnast, Tanaka. Great tradition of gymnastics in his family. He has an older brother that was part of an international team and a sister on the women's Olympic team, Ria Tanaka, as well. So three talented people in their family. Full twisting Kovacs there. Into the Balco element. Japanese, traditionally excellent on this piece of apparatus. Good form in that Markelov. Into the endo Sahili. Working well, racking up the difficulty. Just the dismount now. That was a great routine from Yusuke Tanaka.
And he made the final of the parallel bars competition in London. So breaks the horizontal bar as his strongest apparatus. The judges agree with him.
Such a small margin of error on that full twisting double somersault. Just the fraction of a second to be able to spot the bar, grab it, and swing round.
At the end of that rotation, we're going to see Tanaka's mark. Tanaka 15.2, puts him second, so the judges agree with you, Paul. That was a strong performance. 8.5 execution, 6-7 on the D score.
Yes, excellent work from Tanaka, and I can also see Denis Abliazin on rings, his specialist piece, 15.7, ranked second in that apparatus. That will help the team still further. Russia going fantastically so far.
So what does that all mean? 137.5 for the Russian Federation, 135.35 for Japan, and Ukraine 1 point behind. Remember, Germany 260 points have completed their afternoon's work. So I wonder if this young lady will be seeing a Russian gold medal in about an hour or so. They lead, but 2 points. It's quite difficult to compare. They've obviously done different routines, and it's not as different apparatus rather, and it's certainly not as clear-cut as the women 24 hours ago. So Romania struggling a little bit, long way back, and the Canadians not really at the races for the moment, so they're back in 17th, 120.5. They'll be enjoying this, the Canadians, whatever happens. This is a great stage for them.
Great company, great competition, wonderful host, fantastic facility. Yes, it's a really good occasion this. The Russians move to vault and get a chance to see the great Abliazin on this apparatus.
time. What a vault competition it's going to be with the 3 medalists from London. Confirmation of those: Russia, Ukraine and Japan. Germany, remember, have already finished their apparatus for the afternoon. And further back, the smaller nations, all those have finished for the day, of course. Yeah, it was interesting. I saw an interview with Yang just before he took off, actually, from Seoul. He says, I don't know who I'll be representing against. I'll check out once I'm there. I wonder if he got a surprise once he realised who'd be up against. Probably not a surprise from the Russian point of view, but it's quite funny for him to say that. Didn't know who he'd be competing against. Maybe thought he'd be competing against fewer lower level athletes. It's certainly not the case. Absolutely. In the vault over the next few days.
Just fill you in on some performances from some of the earlier rounds from the individual gymnasts. Filip Ude of Croatia scored an excellent 15.25 on pommels, should see him into the final. And Yu Chen of Chinese Taipei, a massive 15.55 on rings. Again, should be a great possibility for the final. We have Ferhat Arikan of Turkey, 15.0, and the Vietnamese gymnast Hong Phuc, 15 on parallel bars. Gold medalist on that apparatus in 2012 in the Ghent World Cup. So some really diverse countries getting into the finals up at the top end.
So a lot of countries that can't compete with the likes of Russian Federation, Japan, China on the team side, but they might have one or two fantastic gymnasts. Zanetti, but you talk about how Brazil are getting stronger and stronger. There's some good coaches Brazil these days, but Vietnam might have one or two, and they'll be in their individual finals, just to explain the team reckoning. But the top 8 go through to each individual apparatus, and we'll see those in 2 days' time. And then tomorrow, on Tuesday, we have the individual all-around for the men and the women. 4th apparatus then at this stage. 73. Impressed a lot of people, the Brazilians, and they won't be short through to Rio. Now, you know all about coaching the gymnastics team ahead of a home competition. Extra resources, but the extra pressure as well. What are the key elements that you could advise the Brazilians over the next 3 years? What would you be telling them?
Don't change anything, I think. The extra resources, the extra money are welcome, but that comes with added pressure, and they have to deliver. And the only way to deliver is to be calm, to train effectively, to listen to your coaches, and to have a very good program, and not to be different, and make sure that you follow your plan.
So the vault, we can't quite see the vault. We're going to cut to that as soon as we can, but the Russians have started with Senkov, the first vault. Who's just deciding whether to go to the parallel bars or the high bars. The parallel bars with the Canadians don't seem too much again.
They have extra time to prepare these bars. Other apparatus already starting, having just 30 seconds per gymnast. He's having 50 seconds, takes a little bit longer. It's quite a diverse way of preparing on these apparatus. A lot of gymnasts have their own concoctions of syrup and sugar and honey to be able to make the bars stick a little bit better for when they swing round.
There's a lot of superstition that people tend to go through certain routines before, even though it doesn't perhaps mean too much for the actual effect.
Oh yes, I've known individual gymnasts doing very strange things. Looking now at Nikita Ignatiev on the vault to start the campaign for Russia. 5.6 start score.
Senkov has already got 14.55.
Okay.
Second vaulter.
Beautiful landing. Roche vault, handspring, double front somersault. Immense difficulty, very difficult to land from that blind opening, but he coded it very well.
Ignatiev's vault there. Let's have a look at it. From what angle are the judges looking at this pool? They're from the other side.
Well, there's 3 on each side, so they'll be looking at the deviation to make sure he stays in a straight line. They'll be wanting to see good rotation, good height, and a solid landing, which is the smallest of steps at the end there. Slightly wide with his legs in the double somersault. But the main thing with this is to land, and he did just that. Great job.
Height and with that. Russians very, very consistent. We haven't really seen any major mistakes from the Russian Federation team. And there's Ignatiev 14.9, just underneath that 15 mark for Nikita Ignatiev. It's still a strong, strong vault.
Oh, that's a good score. Just 7/10 deduction from the E-jury, so he'll be pleased.
He's looking good on the all-around as well, early stages, but
absolutely
he's right up there. He's ahead of Kudsenkov for the moment. Christian Bataga to Romania, the Six Nations competing, so we're trying to pack as much in.
Being lifted onto the bars by coach Ioan Suciu, himself a very experienced gymnast and a former participant in this Universiade.
Romania struggling, they need the points. In the background to let you know that another vault for Russia from Beliavsky. Give me those scores as soon as we get them. Let's concentrate on the still rings.
Looking well, Bataga showing good strength, combinations with swing. Jonason and the Manawaki combination. And then a hammer into that cross, working fast rotation into a still hold. There. That'll be a good deduction. Double twisting, double back somersault to finish. Small loss of form, but he's through.
But, you know, Beliavsky 15.2 on that vault. So he's up to the top of the all-arounds now. No surprise there, 60.2. Going to see his teammate Denis Abliazin.
Superb vault to this man. We saw an incredible routine on the floor earlier. This really is his domain, the vault. Showing a 6 start score, that's top draw difficulty.
Silver medalist in London, Abliazin, only denied by Young. Amazing performance from the Korean. He'll get his revenge, I wonder.
Wow. Sukahara in the pike position, double pike Sukahara. Just the smallest of steps and made with effortless ease. Great job. Now needs a second vault. Both just getting him to stay calm, concentrate, focus, and use all that energy in that 25 metres of run-up. Half turn onto the horse, grab the legs and wrap in for a double somersault.
And just to remind us, the deduction for that back step, how much would that be there?
It'll be a 10th or 3/10 depending on how the judges assess it, whether it's a small step or a larger step. But he stayed within the tram lines, no deduction for deviation. That's a good job.
Abliazin, 15.350.
Good work. Needs the second one now, though.
To push the envelope and get an even higher score than that, or will he just think, well, 15.35, very solid?
Well, the normal trend is when you're doing 2 vaults, the first one counts for the team competition, so that should be your safe one. And this one, if you want to be a little bit more reckless, you can. You've only got your apparatus final on the line, but he's wanting to get into that final. It's another 6 vault. He needs to get to his feet.
I wonder if perhaps Yang is watching this.
Wow. Handspring, straight front somersault, 2.5 twists. Beautiful work, great diversity between the 2 vaults. He's on top form, that guy.
More difficulty there. That's going to be a wonderful battle in a couple of days. South Korean and the Russian. We'll have a look at that height, brilliant control, and that time step back as well, smaller than on the first vault.
Absolutely, but beautiful form in the air, 2.5 twists. It's the same vault that Yang elected to do in the earlier rounds. Yang's done that vault with an extra half twist, so it's a big question about whether or not he's going to pull that out in a few days' time.
Wait for that score, it's 15.375. That'll be enough for the final, surely.
Oh, absolutely,
easy.
Yes. A repeat of the Olympic final on the cards for a few days' time. What a competition.
Surprise, disbelief. Sometimes these vaults are quite unbelievable, especially when you're close up and you just see the pace, the power they generate. It's jaw-dropping stuff. Lucky enough to be at the North Greenwich Arena for that final. I think a lot of people who are new to gymnastics saw it and saw the vaults. Couldn't quite believe what they were seeing.
It's
like that lady a few seconds ago. Back to the floor, Yuki Tanaka.
Good twist in front into a 2.5 twist in front. A roll out with effortless ease, so much height in that somersault.
trapped on the floor at the moment, both the Russians are Blazin and Avsky.
Tanaka has a chance to get into this final on floor. It's great work. Just one more tumble away for a very good score. Triple twist, slightly under-rotated, but safely through.
You see that as a 15 performance, though. He'll need 15.
I think he has a chance there, yeah. That was some immense difficulty, plenty of twists. It'll be a great start score, and hopefully he'll be there.
15 certainly will guarantee it, give him a chance, because currently 8th place is 14.9, but still a lot of gymnasts to go. Might be helped by the fact that 3 of the top 4 on the floor are Russian, but of course only 2 will make it, so that means you could be 9th, 10th, even 11th. It's there. That's the end of that routine. Fingers crossed for him. He's above that 15 mark.
He's a Japanese gymnast following the footsteps of the great Kohei Uchimura, not here. Finished with his student days, but what a fantastic gymnast he was. For a whole cycle, he commanded great results, winning every major manifestation in the 4 years between Beijing and London.
Gymnast. I remember speaking with some of the gymnasts who competed against him, and most of them say it was just an honour to be on the same field of play with him. Literally at that level, they were just honoured to be there. And his competitors, some saying he's just the best gymnast ever, full stop. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I think I would. The only gymnast I know to have actually received a standing ovation from fellow coaches and gymnasts at the 2011 Tokyo World Championships, where he put in such an incredible all-round performance. Everybody stood up and applauded this genius of gymnastics.
Basically said, well, I got the bronze, but it's basically the silver because you can't count he's on another planet.
Now looking at Verniayev on high bar. Good chance for the all-around. Few little errors through this routine. Big step on the landing. Not his best performance.
Big step forward. What kind of deduction would that be?
It could be 5/10. Again, it's up to the individual judges to assess whether it was a major error or medium error. But
it is above 15 then for Tanaka.
Absolutely, 15.05.
It's the margins, but it is above 15.05. That gives him a chance getting into that final.
Currently ranked 5th. I think he'll be there. Lots more of, I'm sure, over the next few years. Those all-around scores. Beliavsky 60.2, Ignatiev 59.95. Things stand, of course, though, so that will change. Very close, less than half a mark separating those guys. Kuksienkov still in with a shout. Certainly hoping that the Russians get the gold medal, and it might lead at all the different apparatus, although the vault, that looks unlikely. Maybe a South Korean on top of the pile. Take a quick look back at the last high bar routine from Oleg Stepko. With half turn. Into the quest, slightly past handstand. All-around athlete, 4th in the European Championships, winning the gold medal on the para. Unusual combination there, the Czech giant for a Group D is difficult, not often seen nowadays, but Stepko using it well. Ready for the dismount. Triple somersault. Unusual dismount, very difficult to land, but he managed it. He's happy with that. So that was the last performance taking place a few seconds ago. But as things stand after 4 apparatus, Russian Federation 182.950, Ukraine 180.050. So that gap is about the same, Paul. And then Japan 179.450. They're the top 3 for the moment. It's quite a big gap, isn't there, between Japan and Brazil, even though, repeat, it's quite hard to compare nations that have gone on different
apparatus, but nevertheless, that looks like the top three.
Absolutely, it's going to be a three-way match, I think, between Russia, Japan, Ukraine. Russia and Japan maybe fighting it out for the top 2 spots.
Japan, the 4-time defending champions, but there you have it, confirmation of those standings after 4 of the 6 apparatus. Brazil, Germany, who went earlier today, but impressed a lot of people in the top 6, and that's how things stand after the 4. Fans warming up here. The Canadians full of smiles. I think they know they're slightly out of their depth here. They're enjoying, surely for most of the biggest day of their careers so far. They're going to get onto the high bar.
I tell you that Oleg Stepko in the previous round scored a massive 15.7 on his favourite piece, parallel bars. He's the current European champion on that apparatus. He's qualified second with his teammate Oleg Vernayev, scoring 15.9 parallel bars. They're massive scores.
Ukraine will go on to the floor this next rotation. Romania on the vault. People's Republic of China on the still rings. I think at this stage, Paul, the tactics of the Russians will be play it safe. We've got a 2-point lead, more than 2 points. But will they still be looking just to push the envelope, make a few perhaps risks for a bit more creativity, or will they just play it safe from there when you have this kind of lead with just 2 rotations left to go?
Well, they look to me like they prepared exceptionally well for this competition. Quite a difficult job to do on the back of the European Championships. That again was in Russia, in Moscow. They had to do that in April, so they've had to go straight back into the gym to prepare hundreds of routines. They've done a fantastic job, and they're all in tip-top fitness now. So I think they're not going to hold back too much at all. They have high bar to get over, and that's always a difficult piece. I wouldn't wish it upon them, but you've got to get through multiple releases, and you have to catch that metal pipe again. If they fall, it could be curtains. They've got to hold it together for 2 more apparatus.
The Russians had an excellent European Championships on home soil. They have to peak 3 times for these Universiade and then for those Worlds, which is not easy. Just to give you a quick idea of what's going on the parallel bars where the Russians haven't gone yet. 2 Ukrainians at the top of the pile, Vernayev and Stepko, 15.9 and 15.2. So looking good so far for Ukraine on that apparatus. And still rings the Olympic champion Artur Zanetti with that superb performance, 15.9, with Abliazin 15.7, and Chen in Chinese Taipei is currently in 3rd, so it's like we'll have 2, 3, 4 countries involved in that particular event. Still rings a spectacular event for gymnasts just warming up. Complete the picture on the vault. Yang, no surprise, 15.525. Blazin, 1.15 back with Radivilov. And the Finnish vault, Tuhar, still in the top 4, still up in the top 8. Spoken much about Finnish gymnasts.
He's actually a good vaulter. I remember him as being a European champion on that piece just a few years ago. So he's got 2 great vaults, and he deserves to be in there. I'm not sure he can challenge for a medal, but it's anybody's game on vault. 2 vaults have got to be stood up.
We're back live with Romania and Vlad Cotuna, the first vaulter. The Romanian team, coached by Jan Suciu.
One of the most difficult of vaults. Sugara with double twist, but well executed anyway, the form.
Certainly out of medal contention now. Up is Bataga for the Romanians. It's I think the end of an era almost, because these are gymnasts certainly not at the beginning of their career. It's a team that knows each other so well. They've gone to World Championships, Olympic Games. It's perhaps the end of a generation. Is that quite hard to manage as a coach when you have to find a whole new lot of gymnasts coming in for a team?
Well, certainly in men's gymnastics, the resources involved with getting a team to the high level, sometimes it might be 12 years of work, and you put so much effort into that often at the end you have to go back and start again with the next junior breed. So I'm sure that in Romania there's some great junior gymnasts coming on, but there'll be a small gap while they regroup and build the gymnasts of the future.
Wonderful tradition the nation has. Showing see the Romanian women Kazakh this time. So maybe a fourth at the World Championships. Look at the floor now for routine. She's Ukraine. Ukraine's turn to take the floor. Petrov, Paknuk, cheers around us because the Russian team are on the parallel bars. Specific is Ignatiev. I'll give you his score in a second.
Scores up for the previous gymnast on floor, Semyonkiv 14.15. Paknuk will be ready to go.
Competing on the high bar. So Paknuk just taking his time. He's now ready to go. Take us through this routine ball.
1.5 twisting, 1 3/4 somersault. It's a mount. Straight into a handspring double twist, into a punch front somersault with a half turn, gaining combination points, showing the judges all the required elements, somersaulting forwards and backwards and sideways, as well as showing handstands, circles or flares. There's the Fedorchenko element, normally seen on the pommel horse, into Japanese handstand, wide arm handstand. Double twist to get into the corner. In preparation for the final leap. 2.5 twist dismount. Safe routine.
We just know that Ignatiev scored 14.7. That's only 15th, only because the Russians having certainly very high standards here. Challenging Ukraine for the moment on those parallel bars. So 14.7 and Bataga 14.325 just coming through on that vault. The Romanians struggling a little bit at the moment. They're not in medal contention. Just see what's that. Into that.
Absolutely, they're used to coming fourth in many competitions, and I just I would hope that they will be fighting for the medals for today.
Fourth in London after that somewhat controversial decision. So deprived British higher place. We've seen another performance on the parallel bars from the Russians. That was Garibov. Crowd loved it. Let's see if the judges do as well. Give me that score as soon as possible. But back on the pommel horse now.
An adjustment on one handle from the Japanese gymnast. Moving over both handles now with a Magyar Savado into the middle. Ready for the dismount. Safety through. And one sec.
In the afternoon, Japanese still pushing for a medal place.
Absolutely, they've got to be very solid on pommel horse. They can't risk a fall now.
Garibov still waiting for his score. Delaying it. Russians liked it. See if he can challenge the top two, and currently from Ukraine. Tanaka was 14.6, which is just outside the top 8 on the panel rules. And Garibov 15.45. Good score, not in the top 3, but certainly finalist material.
Absolutely. Very high class build on parallel bars in this competition. And Beliavsky is a great exponent of this apparatus as well.
Beliavsky. Bronze in the parallel bars final at the Europeans.
Basket to handstand. Very difficult Diamondov turn from a front uprise from upper arms. Alexar swinging to the end of the bars. Front somersault to catch immediately into the Healy. to the one rail, showing all the connections, all the combinations. Just the dismount, it's unusual. Double pike somersault, unique, his own element, perfect landing, great routine from Beliavsky.
He certainly enjoyed that. Will that be enough to push one of the Ukraine gymnasts out of the top two of the parallel bars? Bronze medalist, beaten by Oleg Stepko in those European Championships. Lucas Fischer actually getting the silver.
He's going to score exceptionally well for that.
Yep.
Look at this.
To beat 15.9, remember. That's Vodnyayev's score with Oleg Stepko 15.7.
He'll be pleased and relieved to get into the final anyway. Not important to top the pile today. It's very important to be a medalist topping the pile in a couple of days' time. And that's job done for Beliavsky.
Just want to get in that top 8. It's got to be in the top 2 from the Russian Federation, otherwise there's no final there. So I have one more Russian to go on the parallel bars. Look at Zhang Yang on the rings from a few seconds ago.
Over the shoulders and that helmet across, pressing out into a Maltese position there. Again, high in the shoulders, judges looking for a horizontal line. Oh, he's struggling. There's Aaron in the circle. It's a better position. Certainly packing in the strength in this rings exercise. The obligatory swing to handstand before the dismount.
Just to let you know, Beliavsky 15.55 on the parallel bar, so that's 4th.
Yes, and they start from 0 in a couple of days' time, so he has every chance of hitting a medal. But what an amazing field on parallel bars and vault from this competition.
So Beliavsky 15.55, and after 5, Apparatus will lead, no doubt about it. Looks like they might extend their lead as well. Beliavsky 15.55, as I just said. Confirmation of that in the final, and as you say, we'll start from 0 once they get to the finals. And we've seen gymnasts who've started 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th getting the gold, so everything still to play for.
He's going well, Beliavsky. The difficult thing for these guys is that they'll be doing it all again tomorrow. Just a night's sleep between them and having to do the all-around final. 6 more apparatus and everybody expecting great performances. That's a difficult task.
It's almost a blessing in disguise not to qualify for that individual all-around if you have no chance of winning.
Well, I don't know. I think people would love to do it, but it's very, very hard. This is 3 days on the trot for some of these gymnasts. They'll be competing in the team competition straight into the all-around. Then the next day they might have 4 or 5 apparatus finals.
Should we go back a few seconds? Yes. We'll look at Kuksenkov, excuse me. Because the crowd here roaring on Kuksenkov. They love this one.
It's hotting up.
Yeah, defending champion in the all-around when he was with Ukraine. Why did they like this one so much, Paul?
Well, I think it's just a supreme performance from all of the Russian guys. 3 men, 3 great routines. And Kuksenkov holding it together in his first competition for his new nation. It's been taken to their hearts, it looks like.
Russian Federation will lead after 5 apparatus. The question is by how many points. It will be a very, very sizable lead.
Another unusual dismount, double front dismount. Nice change from the double pipe back. What a great routine.
Pointing to his score. Japan will be second going into the final rotation.
Russia now forging ahead with that brilliant parallel bars performance. They're actually moving further and further ahead of Japan with just 1 apparatus to go. Joshua Stewart scoring 13.55. Canadians hopefully having a great time in such amazing company.
Kuksenkov 15.350, that's 3rd. And that almost seals the deal for the Russian Federation because their lead now is more than 4 points. It's gone from a little over 2 to more than 4, so that's taken them a huge, huge stride.
Yes, well, barring disasters, it's going to be a real fight for second and third now between Japan and Ukraine, who are just separated by 1 point as they go into the last rotation.
Japan and Ukraine, 0.9 points of a difference, and they'll know that. Is there an advantage, Paul, in terms of the respective number of points they'll be hoping to get on the last apparatus? I'm talking about Japan and Ukraine, where will they be racking up the most points?
Yes, it's quite interesting to see some apparatus are slightly weighted more than others. It used to be the vault would give you a big bonus. That's been brought into line now. Every vault's been downgraded, downvalued by up to a mark. So the apparatus now very, very similar. It's very difficult to tell who's going to get the highest score as Russia move to high bar for this final piece.
Just come off the pommel horse. The pressure really on.
Ukraine have it all to do, I sense. They've got to hold it together on pommel horse. A very difficult piece to finish on, especially with the pressure of a medal in the asking. Rings for Japan, I'd favour them a little bit. It's a steady piece, unusual to be falling off of the rings. So they've just got to hold it together, and I just hope Ukraine can keep calm, keep composed, and fight for that medal.
But Germany have 260 points, and they'll be hoping beyond hope that they might be able to nick a medal as well.
Well, in this company, a top 4 place or a top 5 place for the likes of Germany and Brazil is a fantastic result.
Canadians just warming up on the floor. The Russians hoping to finish the deal off on the high bar. They have some wonderful high bar gymnasts as well. So they should have enough in the tank to stay ahead of Japan and get their first gold medal here as Russia, or the former Soviet Union, since 1991 in Sheffield in the north of England. I don't know if you remember those.
I remember it well. I was there as a boy.
I think it was quite on a bigger scale as the Universiade. I know there weren't 10,000 athletes in South Yorkshire, that's for sure, but it did give a boost to Sheffield, those Universiade. I know some local people telling me that I'd like to think of them becoming a sports city after that. A lot of international athletes from around the world. And, it was a big couple of weeks for Sheffield.
Yes, they did a great job. I certainly enjoyed it as an interested spectator.
6th rotation is on the rings. The artistic gymnastics medal count from 2 years ago. Japan won 4 golds, 5 silvers, and 3 bronze. Russia 2 years ago, Paul, only got 1 gold, 1 silver, and 3 bronze. So they'll be looking to put that right. We've already got 1 gold on the first day.
Well, I'm sure they'll be, like the women yesterday, they'll be shown in many finals over the coming days. A really superb performance, especially at this time of year, having come off the European Championships and building up for the World Championships later on. Great performance in their home turf.
Like in Belgrade 4 years ago, China led the way with 3 golds, 6 silvers. Japan had 3 golds and 1 silver. And South Korea had a couple of golds, and a couple of golds for Britain as well. Russia not in the top 4 2 years ago. So they've had a poor patch at these Universiade and in a couple of Olympics as well in 04 and 08, but it looks like Russian gymnastics getting very much back to the top of the tree as we get ready for the last rotation.
Absolutely. Russia see many of its top coaches moving to different countries over the years, but they've regrouped, got a great university-based program, and they've started to come back to the top.
Nikita Ignatiev on the high bar. Too special just to push Russia over the line.
Beautiful Coleman into the straight Kachev. Massing the points for his team. Zuli Min with 1 arm long swing. And the connection with a squat full twist into the Markelov. Slight loss of form, recovered well. And most importantly, he's still on the apparatus. Kachev in straddle. Slight arm bend. There'll be some form faults. Just the dismount now. Hop full twist, winding up. Double somersault with double twist. He's safely through. That's 1 down, 2 more scores to go. 3 gymnasts to do it.
Good work from Ignatiev. It's actually Fabian Hambuchen who's top of the pile, the German gymnast, 15.5. Considerable lead he has over Tanaka so far. So far it's Hambuchen, Tanaka, Kato, Mariano, the Brazilian, Semyenkiv, top of the high bar. So just 2 more Russians to go, and that was an impressive piece of work from Nikita Ignatiev.
Yes, steady performance from the first up in the Russian team. Let's not forget about Fabian Hambuchen. What a great gymnast he is. 3 Olympic Games, 5 world medals, 6 European medals, a silver medalist on high bar in London, and now at the prime of his career in the Universiade, 88.3 all around and a chance for some finals as well. He had a 15.5 on high bar, as was mentioned, from a 6.8 start score. Great.
Yeah, he's a legend of German gymnastics. He was the youngest German athlete in any sport in the 2004 Summer Olympics, 17 years old. And 2007, he was named the German Sports Personality of the Year across all the sports.
Fantastic.
Yeah, takes some doing.
Well, especially as a gymnast when you're competing against so many other high-profile sports.
You got 5-3, is that right?
5 year for him in 2007. Probably because he won the World Championship on home soil in Stuttgart.
What an event that was. I was there, and an amazing atmosphere as he did that job in Stuttgart. Very similar to here, where the crowd are getting completely inspired by a tremendous performance from the home team, Russia.
I know the gold medal is getting close, and David Beliavsky knows his first gold medal at the Universiade is getting close too. Gold medals in one summer. Beliavsky, European all round. What can he do here?
Looking at Corey Patterson on the floor, while Beliavsky does his job on high bar. Beliavsky going through well so far. This is Corey Patterson.
That's right, the Canadians.
Good 2.5 twist this round there.
Company.
There it is. What a performance from Beliavsky. 6 apparatus, 6 great routines. He's made his mark for the all-around final as well as sealing the deal for Russia.
They're beginning to celebrate. As we just see that floor routine from the Canadians, who are 23rd out of 24 at the moment.
Well, they'll be happy just to be here, to be amongst these over their jet lag from a 52-hour journey.
An overnight stop in JFK Airport, unscheduled. Interesting why the organisers put them in this last rotation. Only they will know that.
Yeah, it's very difficult to judge. Sometimes the pedigree of your country can make it a little bit of a challenge.
Back on the vault.
Beautiful vault, triple twist there, slight loss of leg form.
It's Wentian Liu again. The gymnast Wentian Liu looking to boost the People's Republic of China. But they're out of the medal contention realistically.
Chance to see Beliavsky's routine now. Side of handstand, that's a 5/10 deduction. Recovering well with that catch-up half turn and fighting hard to stay on this apparatus. Adler with full turn, immediately connected with Markelov. Into the Kachev. After a small error at the beginning, he's back on track. Skolda and the dismount. Double somersault, full twist, great landing. Beliavsky's done a good job.
I can tell you that Beliavsky got 14 dead for that. It's just from a few seconds ago, and now live is Nikolai Kuksenkov.
This is the score they need. This will give them 3 scores safe.
Beliavsky from a few seconds ago. He's top of the all-round reckoning for the moment. He's certainly a real candidate for that title. Kuksenkov finishes his routine. 13.7 for Corey Patterson, and they're having a wonderful day in the sun, the Canadians.
Absolutely. For some of these guys, their gymnastics competition starts and finishes today. They may be here for a couple of weeks, so they'll be enjoying the festivities and the celebrations of being part of this tremendous event.
It's certainly not over for Nikolai Kuksenkov, who knows all about winning gold medals at the Universiade, and it looks like he's going to get another one this afternoon. The Russian Federation just moving further and further ahead.
Beliavsky finishing on 89.75, very close to the magic 90 mark. That's a tremendous performance. If he can repeat that tomorrow, he'll be right in the frame.
14.2 for Ignatiev on the high bar. Just to let you know, Hambushin 15.5, so still quite comfortable for him at the top. Have to start again. Those individual apparatus in 2 days' time. Tanaka and Kato before the Russians got going. It's been a really solid all-round performance from the gymnasts of the Russian Federation. Can't really fault them for too many things over these 6 apparatus.
Absolutely, great team effort.
To go is going to be Emin Gadibov. I'm going to concentrate on the step cone, which is very important, of course, for the medal placings.
Absolutely.
For Ukraine. This was again a few seconds ago on the pommel horse.
Starting with a great shield to handstand, immediately connected with another one. Beautiful work. Moving into the double leg circles, traveling backwards, legs locked together. Full spindle, working on one handle, building the difficulty. Slightly skewed on those travels. The Magyar Shivado's shoulders need to be facing forwards and into the triple Russian circle. Up for the dismount, full turn, great routine.
Brilliant work from Stepko, who was 16th on the pommel horse at those Olympic Games. And that's a candidate also to be number 1 in the all-around, the individual all-around. He's put in an excellent performance.
Absolutely.
Stepko, and he's done his nation a world of good with that performance. It's as good as anything we've seen so far.
Yeah, 6 clean pieces.
Stepko. On the high bar, just pushing the Russians over the line. There's a battle royal for that second place between Japan and Ukraine.
That routine from Stepko scoring 15.5 at the top spot on the pommels.
Top spot indeed.
Absolutely. Berbatara on parallel bars. Great work on this apparatus. But all eyes in the house are on Emin Garibov, just across the way on high bar.
Competing for pride now, looking just to get in the top 6-7 if they can.
Berbikar will be looking for a final in this apparatus. He has the potential to do it. Through the Healy, steadying himself in the handstand. And a double pike. Sat back, what a shame. And that cheer around the audience is for Emin Garibov, who has rounded off a fantastic performance from a tremendously informed Russian team. They had it all to do, and it looks like they're going to do it.
Yeah, just as Marius Berbikar was falling, we should underline, they weren't cheering that fall. It happened almost exactly at the same time. They were cheering their man, because Emin Garibov has surely done enough to give the Russian Federation a second gold medal of these artistic gymnastics competition. They've won the women's competition, and they're going to win. Yeah, we can confirm. Russian Federation, the new gold medalists, see who will get that silver medal, will it be Ukraine or Japan after that final performance. 15.5 for Stepko.
Fantastic routine on the
should be enough, I think, Paul.
Well, I think so. We're waiting for one routine from Japan. I think that's in. Monamura.
Yep, 269.7, and Ukraine
2/10.
have got a silver.
Fantastic.
Well, they know all about just being denied medals, and here
Yes.
Boot is on the other foot. They've just got the silver ahead of Japan. The defending champions will have a medal, but it's a mere bronze. Russian Federation gets the gold medal, 271.85 points. The crowd delighted with that. Ukraine 269.95 and Japan 269.7. And there's quite a bit of a gap between them and the Germans. Very creditable fourth though for Germany earlier, 260.5. But it was all about the Russian Federation again today.
Absolutely, the crowd on their feet acknowledging a tremendous performance from 5 true fantastic gymnasts. Russia first, 273.15, and just 2:10 separating Ukraine and Japan. Ukraine, great for them after the disappointment of a 4th place in the London Olympics to come here to Kazan and to perform so well in the Universiade, right down to the wire, with Oleg Vernayev topping the all-around with 90.5 and getting a silver medal just in front of Japan.
90.5, you were talking about that magic mark of 90. And for all the talk of Russian Federation, 2 Ukrainians getting above 90 and 1 Japanese. So Beliaski and Kuksenkov will be getting into that final as 4th and 5th places. So that's what we were talking about, all-round consistency. Individually, the star performers, 2 of the 3 were Ukraine, but they didn't really put a foot wrong, did they, the Russian Federation? And borne out by those results. No disappointing results and a good final score.
Yes, good look there at Team Russia. Coaches and physios and masseurs, a great team effort today. Kuksenkov finishing 5th, 2 Ukraines above him, and him, Kuksenkov, formerly of Ukraine, now for Russia in 5th place. Just marginally in front of Ignatiev, the 3rd Russian in the top 6. 3 gymnasts in the top 6, and we remember from the women's competition just yesterday, 3 gymnasts in the top 3. Fantastic for the home nation.
It was really on the floor. The Russians dominated with Ablyazin and Beliavsky, the top 2. 15.65, 15.3. Do you think, Paul, on those floor routines, just how risky were the Russian routines? Were they taking some risks today with some interesting...
Oh, absolutely. Ablyazin, 7.1 start score, the most difficult routine ever performed on the floor exercise as far as I know. They didn't hold back at all and they deserve everything they got. Now doing a lap of honour, Garibov taking the flag, acknowledging the support, was wonderful support from the home nation today.
Superb all-round performance. Just to go through some of the other apparatus, Vernayev dominating that pommel horse, 15.65. Delighted with his performance, even though the Russians going away with the gold. Stepko. Ukrainians did get the top 2 in the end in the pommel horse. That's interesting.
Yes, 2 monster scores, 15.65, 15.5 on that apparatus. That's really excellent results. I'm just looking down the list of the top 24 to see who's qualifying for that all-around competition. We have representation from many countries. Mariano of Brazil, 86.3. He finished in 10th place. There's Italian representation from Paolo Principi. Chinese gymnasts are there. And very pleased for Matthew Firth in 18th place, 84.55. He'll be showing us his routines again.
Talking of monster scores, don't forget the rings. Number 1 on the rings, no surprise. The Olympic champion Zanetti by 0.2 points clear of Ablyazin, and must be the strong favourite for the rings competition, Paul.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. Chen of Chinese Taipei, 15.55. Some great performances today under quite a lot of pressure.
The pressure was there in terms of the vault. No massive surprise with the Olympic champion Yang of South Korea, 15.525. This is score 0.15 ahead of Ablyazin. Ablyazin had a good all-round day, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Tuhar in the top 4. So Finnish representation of the pole. 2 Kazakhs in that vault final. Haven't spoken too much about Kazakhstan so far, but they'll be represented. They're getting a bonus of $3,000 for any champion title, so extra incentive if any was needed. The best action from today. So there you have it, the Russian Federation with quite a comfortable win. They have another gold. They'll join us in a few minutes for that. Welcome back to Kazan, where we've seen a wonderful team performance with the emphasis on team from the Russian Federation, who've quite comfortably won the team gold medal in the gymnastics competition here. 27th Universiade, as we get ready for the medal ceremony. 3 of the top 6 gymnasts from the day from the Russian Federation. They were 4th, 5th and 6th overall, with Belyavsky on 89.75 points, Kuksenkov 89.5 and Ignatiev 88.850. It's that consistency of performance, 3 great performances from those 2 gymnasts. Overall, in fact, Ukraine 1 and 3, Verniev and Stepko, the 2 Olegs, with Kato, the Japanese gymnast, 2nd. But they didn't have enough in terms of the overall team contribution pool to really threaten the Russian Federation.
Yes, Russia clear winners today, 273.15, 4 marks ahead, just under 4 marks, 3.2 the gap. Ukraine, fantastic job, 269.95, Japan 269.7. Great result for Germany again, following on from the team bronze from the women yesterday, 4th place for the men, and Brazil on the way up for Rio 2016 in 5th place.
Yeah, they certainly are, and it's been a real interesting competition, because, you know, on the 6 apparatus we had 5 different winners in 5 different countries. Verniev best on the pommel horse and parallel bars, best on the floor a Russian, Abyazin, best on the rings a Brazilian, Zanetti, best on the vault South Korean Yang, and the best on the high bar a German, Ambushin. We don't see that too often. It just reflects the international nature of this competition.
Absolutely. A lot of the information, a lot of the knowledge, a lot of the coaches now being spread out right across the world, and gymnastics going to some of these nations. We're seeing great results from Vietnam, from Chinese Taipei, from none of the traditional nations, as well as some of these great guys doing performances and winning medals here in Kazan.
Today, it's the Russian Federation that takes centre stage, and they have 5 athletes ready to pick up the gold medal.
Medal being presented by one of the great gymnastic legends, Yuri Titov, an old man now, but a former Olympic champion, one of Russia's great exponents, a pioneer in his day.
Yesterday we had Nelly Kim, legend of the women's sport. So first, 3rd place for Japan. How would you sum up their performance today?
Very good. They didn't make too many mistakes. Looked like good work, but just outclassed by the Russians, who put it all together under great pressure. Japan without Kohei Ushimura, suffering a little bit, but they've still got some great individual performances. They'll be represented in some of the finals, the all-around final by Tanaka and from Nonomura, who competed very well. They have a chance of making some medals there, and on the individual apparatus as well.
Medals being presented, as you say, by Yuri Titov, a legend of the 56, 60 and 64 Olympics.
Yes.
Olympic champion with the team silver on the bar back in 56, bronze all around vault. He knows all about winning medals. So 3 separate Olympics. So Japan, no gold for them this time. Home with the bronze, and denied in 2nd place by Ukraine, and a really good performance from them, especially Verniev and Stepko.
Absolutely, the pressure was on the last piece of apparatus, pommel horse. They had to deliver, and boy, they did. 45.95, top scorers on pommel horse, beating Russia, beating everybody. An average score of 15 just when they needed to do it. And they were consistent right the way through. Well deserved for 269.95 and the silver medal.
Ukraine bronze medalists in 07, silver in 03.
Yes, they lost Nikola Kuksienkov to Russia last year. I was wondering how well they'd be able to cope with that, but they've come back, they've filled their team, they've filled his place. He's found his place in the Russian team, and they've done a great job.
But the gold medal, there's no surprise, it's going to be for the Russian Federation. Denis Abiazin, David Beliavsky, Emin Garibov, Nikita Kuksienkov, and Nikolai Ignatiev taking the honours. Superb team performance, 3 of those in the top 6 overall, Beliavsky, Kuksienkov and Ignatiev. Carrying on what has been a fine start to these Universiade, not only in artistic gymnastics, but certainly in this gymnastics centre. Russia are Universiade champions.
It's a great result, tremendous set of scores, 46 average on floor, 45.3 on pommel horse, 46 on rings, 45 plus on vault, 46 on parallel bars, and then the final piece, a few wobbles for 43.85. But a tremendous performance, well-deserved win.
Excellent European Championships, having a superb Universiade and World Championships to come as well. Will this be a golden summer, I wonder, for Russian gymnastics?
I'm sure Ryohei Kato, qualifying in 2nd place, will be really working hard tomorrow to be able to pick up the top spot. Just 2 tenths behind Oleg Venyayev, 90.5, 90.25. Got plenty to do. Standing ovation from the crowd.
Let's get ready for the Gaudeamus in honour of the Games winners, the Universiade anthem. For the second time, the Russian Federation flag takes centre stage. 24 hours ago, it was the women, and now the men, with Ukraine and Japan completing that top 3. 5 medals will be cherished by those athletes. Japan and Ukraine look pretty delighted as well. Not too many disappointed faces amongst those podium places. Like everyone's quite happy with that, Paul.
Well, it goes with the friendly nature of these games, but they were truly wonderful performances. Nobody had a disaster. They can all be very proud of being on the podium and representing their country so well.
Talk about the recovery time and the recuperation now, because some, not all of these athletes will be here again tomorrow afternoon for the individual all-around. We're talking about the likes of Verniav and Stepko for Ukraine, Kato of Japan. Unfortunately for Ignatiev, he won't be there, but Beliavsky, Senkov will be there, Hambushin for Germany. What will they be doing over the next 24 hours?
Well, it's important to rest. We remember that the women have an extra day. They would have had an easy day today following their competition. but the guys have only just finished now. It's late in the evening. They need to get their heads down and to bed, and it's always difficult because the press will be wanting to talk to them. There'll be possible drug testing, all sorts of things. They need to get to sleep. They need to get rested because tomorrow afternoon it all happens again, and it's no easy task to try to raise your game and peak again for the all-around competition where you've got to try and be even better than the day before.
That's right. That men's competition starts at 1900 local time, 7 o'clock in the evening. Local time now is a little bit after 8 o'clock, so less than 24 hours. That includes all the media work they have to do. They have to say doping controls, the little matter of sleep, nutrition. What will they be eating, do you think? Will they be eating tonight? Will they just take a big breakfast tomorrow? What's going to be their routine for that?
Well, the advice is to eat as soon as possible to recover from the exertions of the competition, so they need to eat as quickly as they can. It's often difficult when you're so excited and doing the press rounds, but they need to get some food very, very quickly and then get a good night's sleep ready for tomorrow.
Work with the physios tomorrow just to keep those muscles limber. It's easy to tighten up for the day after a competition. And of course, for another set of athletes, sometimes the same, there'll be individual finals as well. So yet another hurdle is those who are competing tomorrow, and then they go again on Wednesday, which really is a tough schedule for any gymnast.
Yes, the potential for some gymnasts, if you qualify for 6 finals, then it could be 18 routines in 3 days, and that's an immense task. These guys are well trained, they'll have prepared for a number of times, and gymnastics is an interesting sport where in competition you'll often do a little bit less than you would do in training. In training you'll do a number of routines, but you come to competition and all you have to do, I say all you have to do, is perform just one routine, but that's the important one.
Let's have a quick look at those qualifiers then. We've just seen the floor, which we've talked about, onto the pommel horse. Ukraine 1 and 2, which is interesting. The
big
Olympic
scores.
Silver medalist Philip Ude there, 15.25. Who would be the favourite for you?
It could be any one of those top 4. Venayev and Stepko 15.65 and 15.5. They're big. We move on to the rings with Zanetti 15.9. He's closely followed by Abliazin, but a great job from Chen Chi-Yu of Chinese Taipei to score 15.55.
Don't rule out Igor Radivilov, the Ukrainian, very talented gymnast. That Japanese there in the top 8. Looking at the vault, a clear favourite here, Haxion Yang. That would be a major surprise if he's beaten. But again, Denis Abliazin, he's got the momentum with him, he's got the crowd with him. Absolutely. And the top 3, that's the top 3 from the Olympics as well.
Yes, a rerun of the Olympic final. That's going to be fascinating.
Just shows maybe a little bit less luck in it than some people might think. Consistency, exactly the same top 3 as in London. Quick look at the parallel bars with the Ukraine team doing exceptionally well there. The 2 Olegs, Verniev and Stepko. It just shows it consistent team performance. Ukraine were outstanding on certain apparatus, but not across the board. And now the qualification for the horizontal bar. Germany, number 1, Fabian Hanbusch, the Olympic silver medalist ahead of Emin Garibov. Again, that'll be a tight competition. Again, a Brazilian there, Hungarian there, Italian there, so plenty of international interest from around the world. But for today, it was all about the Russian Federation and another gold medal. They've won the team competition, Russian Federation, by quite a considerable margin. They have won their first team competition since 1991, the first as the Russian Federation since the breakup of the former Soviet. There you have it, the crowd making their way home after a very, very happy moment.